Hello everyone, and welcome to this Beyond video production entitled Gassers Galore. Now get ready to take a trip back in time, back to the golden era of the Gassers, a time when the gas coupe and sedan category was as popular with the fans as the fuel-burning funny cars are today. This 1937 Willys is owned and driven by Barbara Hamilton of Cleveland, Ohio. Now Barb is credited with being the first female drag racer to receive an NHRA supercharged license back in 1964. Now Barb and her close friend Nancy Leonello traveled around the Midwest with their blown small block double C gas supercharged car. Barbara still owns the Willys, and most of the time it is on display at the Don Garlits Museum of Drag Racing in Ocala, Florida. But on occasion she takes it out to a nostalgia event. Barbara was inducted into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame in 1991. She was the double C gas supercharged class winner at the 1966 NHRA Spring Nationals at Bristol, Tennessee, and the runner-up in the double C gas supercharged class at the 1968 Nationals at Indy. She is truly the first lady of the Gassers. Now let's meet Barbara Hamilton-Advey. Before Shirley Muldowney, there was another woman making her mark in the supercharged ranks of drag racing, and it's a name familiar to me, Barbara Hamilton. And Barbara, we find you out here at our old-time drag race reunion here in Henderson, North Carolina, and you brought the car that you raced back then.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
It normally resides in Gartlitz's museum down in Ocala. The last few summers I've taken it out of there for 4 or 5 months and have traveled around to some of these events.
Yeah.
And it's going back down there Monday.
Wow.
It'll be down there again.
Great looking car. It's definitely museum status, isn't
Well,
it?
I've owned it since 1962 and it's exactly like it was when I raced it.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's the same engine, transmission, blower.
Honest to God.
Same spark plug wires.
Did you own it all those years?
I've owned it all those years.
Man, that's amazing. Now you need to go back and tell us a little bit about this history. You know, you are credited with being the first lady in the supercharged ranks to be licensed by NHRA.
Right.
How'd you do that?
Well, in 1962, I was driving a 34 Ford Coupe with a blown Chevy in it. Did not belong to me, and I had an opportunity to buy this Willys and decided I'd like to build it and race it myself. And so I started petitioning NHRA for a license, and of course they rejected it, said no.
Yeah.
And it finally, after 2 years, the track managers from Dragway 42 and from Quaker City and from Thompson had let me run and started also to send letters to NHRA. And it was in July of '64 that I got a letter from Bob Daniels, and it said due to the amount of people that have requested that they let me drive, they were going to issue me a license to drive supercharged gas coupe and sedan. And since it was the first license issued...
I love this woman.
Since it was the first license issued to a lady, they were concerned that I was going to handle it accordingly.
Yeah. Amazing. A much higher standard for you to meet than your average guy trying to get in the same class.
Yeah.
Did that aggravate you? Almost make you want to give it up?
You know, it really did. It was something I had loved. From the time I was in high school, there were a group of us that used to go to drag races every weekend.
Yeah.
And it was always, you know, a 10 or 15 group of people that would go. And I'd loved it since the first time I went in. And I had decided when I was a junior in high school that someday I was going to own a drag car, a race car.
Now, what about the guys you were dating at that time? You're going out with guys. How'd they feel being with a woman that raced?
Racers.
No?
They were all racers.
Oh, they were?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 34 Ford Coupe that belonged to John Dunlap, I dated him my first couple years in college.
Yeah.
And his was the first car I ever drove down a racetrack. I was 19 years old. I was in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And fortunately, John was the type of guy that said, if you're going to drive this car, you're going to learn how to build the motors and work on it.
Good
so
for
2 years, right, I spent every evening in his garage.
Wow, what a date you are.
Learning how to do this, but it helped me so much because when I got this car and decided to build it myself, I had a starting base, a starting platform to work on.
So you put this car all together yourself too?
Every engine that's been in this car since 1962 short block I have built myself.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Well, what happens after this car? We know you're successful when you win your class at the Spring Nationals in '66. Yeah. And what happens then?
Well, I continued. I was runner-up at the 68 Nationals, at U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis. And of course, by the early 70s, supercharged gas coupe and sedan started to disappear. When George Montgomery got sponsored by Ford, Ford was okay with him using a Ford motor in that Willys for the first year, but after the first year they wanted to see him in a Ford vehicle. So he ended up putting the Ford into a Mustang, and from that point on, supercharged gas coupe and sedan went away.
Is that right?
Yeah, it really turned into a funny car from that point on. So all of us running a supercharged gas coupe and sedan went from double C gas like I did, and then they went to double B because they got rid of double C, and then there was only double A left, and I couldn't be competitive in there with a small block Chevy.
I see.
So I ended up quitting.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
When you look back at it, though, and all that you did and all that you accomplished, do you have a favorite memory, maybe an achievement that stands out in your mind that you're most proud of?
You know, I guess, and it's probably going to seem strange to you, but probably the most memorable one, and the thing that I enjoyed most, was the runner-up at the U.S. National. The U.S. National still, even today, is the most prestigious
Big
race.
time.
It's the one race that everybody wants.
Absolutely.
I ended up in the final round running against Bill Linder with the CC Ryder car out of New York. Bill was instrumental in helping me a great deal when I first got started into racing. And so it was sort of an interesting thing for the two of us to stand up in the racing thing.
Yeah.
I had just put a clutch plate in the car a month before I went.
Right.
I had a lot of problems with it. My timing was off. He put it to me on the lights. I had ran a quicker ET than he did, but I got beat.
Huh.
And if there's any race I could ever want back, that would be the one I want
Sure.
back. So, and I think that's probably my most memorable.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, it probably made him feel good, too, that he gave you a start, but he was still able to show you the way to the finish line, huh?
You know, and it's funny, when I was inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1991,
Yeah.
I received a phone call one night, and I answered the phone, and there was a voice on the other end that said, "This is Barb Hamilton." And I said, "Well, yeah, that's my maiden name." And there was a little silence there, and he said, "Do you still occasionally fall asleep at the starting line?" And I said, "Bill Linder, is that you?" And he
There
said,
you go.
"Yes."
He knows.
So it was the first time I had talked to him in probably 30 years.
Yeah. What's it feel like coming back
Oh,
and doing
wonderful.
this part?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I, 2 years ago, built another Willys. I have a clone to this one
There you
at
are.
home.
Wow.
It has a 413-inch Donovan motor in it, and I probably will take it down the track at some of the nostalgia.
Oh, we'd
races.
love to see that. Now, did you build that one yourself,
Yes, I
too?
did too. And that 413 Donovan's in there is the first shirt block I put together in 28 years.
Yeah.
So
What a lady. You're amazing, I'll tell you, no doubt about it.
it's like anything else. It's within me. I
Yeah.
just have loved drag racing since I was a young girl.
Terrific. Well, Barbara, we want to thank you very much for what you've contributed to drag racing through the years. And also thank you for coming out to this reunion, because your stories are just great.
I'm having a great time.